For those of you who don't know our family, I'm probably the least loquacious and theatrical one, so I brought her up with me as my backup support. We were sort of reminiscing on Yiayia. Yeah. We were thinking that it was really a shame that we were the only ones who knew all of these really funny Yiayia stories. Because she had so many just really hysterical peccadillos, and this was really out of character for me to be up in front of a large group of people. It's very uncomfortable, but I think, yeah, thanks. But I think we have to do it because we have to share these hysterical stories with you. And we wanted to show you a little bit about the real Yiayia behind the apron. So of course, behind the apron, we have to start with her cooking, right? She cooked for everybody all the time, like anyone who would eat her food, she was cooking for them. We have friends who know her just because she would just show up with food, and she was just the old lady who showed up with food, and like no one knew who she was really. So we went over to Yiayia's house one day. She cooked so much. And we went over to her house one day, and we come in, like, oh, hi, Yiayia, we give her a hug, and I sort of look over at her stove, and there was this big piece of duct tape running from the controls on the stovetop, like all the way down the stove front, and then wrapping around the oven door handle. And I think it was Dad, somebody, it was in Greek, I remember. Yeah, Mom, tiene αυτό. What is this? You know? And she said, oh, well, the oven door broke off, but it's all right. If I tape it like that, it still works just fine. Now, what can I serve you? Just like, not a moment missed. She was going to feed us with this broken oven door. And so that Yiayia food story sort of leads into another one of my favorite Yiayia stories, which was how she treated us when we would eat her food. And anyone who would eat her food. In fact, those of you who've known us long enough know that we dated these cute little American boys in high school, and Leah's was really, really shy, but he could eat. Like, he was an eater. And mine was really outgoing and giggly, but he was this little tiny stick of a kid, and he just couldn't eat. He ate like a bird. And because Yiayia, of course, gauged how much someone's character by how much they ate, Jared was held in a very favorable light, and Robbie was sort of pushed off to the side. And he couldn't stand this because he just thought she was the funniest old lady. And so he was slowly sort of picking away at things like, how can I get into Yiayia's good graces? And he found out that she liked to play cards. Yes, my Yiayia is a gambler, guys. She always used to tell us she'd pull out cards when we were kids, and she's like, all right, what are we betting? And we'd say, yeah, we don't want to bet, we just want to play for fun. And then she'd always look at us and she'd say,
it's no fun unless you bet.
That's right. A lesson that I'm sure parents want their grandmother teaching their kids. Thankfully, we didn't end up with terrible gambling problems or anything. But after that, she had a little online poker account, and she liked Robbie Patterson, so it was good for everybody. And on top of sort of poker, she really took to that. And I think it was because Yiayia was tricksy.
She's a trickster.
Yeah, she played this game called Yandis, and I still don't, what does it mean? Does it mean like gotcha or something? Sucker? Yeah. But basically, and I'm still fuzzy to this day how wishbones work, because wishbones in our house were used to start the game of Yandis. And so
it was an all-day affair.
An all-day affair, and you'd go up to Yiayia with the wishbone, and you'd hold it, and you'd break it. And it really didn't matter who got the bigger piece. That had nothing to do with anything. It was just sort of like the starting pistol or something at a match. Then the game had begun. And for the rest of the day, she would try to hand us stuff. And before taking it from her, we would have to say, Toxero.
I know it.
I know it. I know what you're doing. Tricky old lady. And if we didn't say that, then she would say,
Yandis!
She'd get really into it. But she was just so tricky with it. Like, she would play the old Yiayia card a lot of the time. Like, she'd be holding a tray, and she's like, oh, darling, it's falling. And we'd reach out to grab it. And then, like, just as energetically and as young as she was when she was 18, Yandis! Like, damn it, Yiayia, come on. So Yiayia's Yandis game, that was one of my favorites. Dad sort of started to steal my material there, but my Yiayia is the first person who ever called me doctor. And I think her and Papu must have pilfered like tons of medical equipment over the years from all the physical therapists and stuff, you know. It was left behind, I'm sure, but we had the stretchy bands, and we had the 8 bandages, and I got stethoscope and the, you know, the breathing thing, and so we played that a lot. I got really good at wrapping ace bandages, which was great, because then I broke like every bone in my body in high school, and I treated Yiayia and Leah a whole lot, and so now I'm sort of a doctor, as Dad said, kind of a doctor, not the right kind, but kind of. And she's a standardized patient, and I think that's, that's a lot to do with Yiayia and how we grew up with her. Okay, so only a couple more things. Yiayia is a diehard fan of her family, and Dad spoke to that with the love bit. But she was just, we couldn't have asked for a bigger fan. She came to most of my high school volleyball games. This is my favorite story, and we'll bleep it at the right point. And she didn't know much about the rules, but she knew that when the ball hit the ground on my team's side, that was bad. And so we're at Greater Atlanta Christian, which is Christian. Yeah. And we had to hold hands and pray before every match. I mean, it was really Christian. And sure enough, when the ball, you know, hits the net and it hits the ground, and from the other side of the gym, we hear, "Oh,
bleep!" That loud.
Real loud.
Real loud.
And so everybody, the players, the moms, the fans, everybody looks over to that side of the gym, and it was only my mom and this sweet little old lady wearing a babushka who she looked so clueless, and I'm just happy to be out of the house, you know. And we just knew that she said it that loud because she knew nobody was going to think it was her. So anyway, I guess at the end here, Yiayia got me thinking about what we are on this earth, really. And the scientist in me, I guess, thinks, well, we're really just an elaborate amalgamation of carbons and hydrogens and oxygens and phosphorus and a couple other chemicals. And when we die, we are just a slightly less organized amalgamation of all those chemicals, right? But what we really are is the memories and the little intricacies of our life, the positive things that we weave into the lives of everybody that we love. And in that way, Yiayia is always alive. And so I don't know if you noticed, but I've been talking about her in the present tense because she had so much energy. It's still here, and it's in all of us. And yeah, in that way, she's always going to be with us. So.
So if you're here tonight, it's for one of two reasons. Reason number one is that you knew my Yiayia, and you loved my Yiayia, and if that's the case, thank you. Thank you for loving her. But the second reason you might be here is because you know and love one of us. And if you're here for the second reason, you're actually here for the first reason, you just didn't know it yet. Because if you're here because you love one of us, her family, I guarantee you that you love something in us that came from her. And she's alive in all of us, in her family, having shaped us in any number of 100 different ways. So if you love one of us, you really love the woman inside of us, my Yiayia, the woman that we're here to celebrate tonight. And although she's influenced all of us and very much made us the people who we are in so many ways, it is impossible to be perfectly like her. She is a unique and unrepeatable, impossibly individual. So I'm here to tell you how. If you'd like to join our family, you can emulate an aspect of our very special and highly unique Yiayia. I have a list of 15 ways to be like Yiayia that I'd like to share with you all tonight. And I am sharing this list in the hopes that there's an item on this list, or ideally many items, that might inspire you to join our family and adopt part of Yiayia's beautiful self for your own. Okay. Cook until your oven door falls off. Be so thrifty that you repair said oven door with duct tape. Iron everything, including underwear and handkerchiefs. This is how you meditate. Wear purple whenever possible. Always tip your family for coming to visit you. Between $2 and $20 is appropriate. Always feed the dogs from the table. Lie about it. Place chocolate at the top of your food pyramid. Cheer and clap for your granddaughters as loudly as possible at every opportunity. Bonus points if you break a blood vessel in your hand from clapping so hard.
This happens.
Level up if you scream out a curse word in a Christian school when your granddaughter loses a point.
Also happens.
And total success if you single-handedly begin a standing ovation for your granddaughter in the dead middle of the show simply because she held a note for a really long time. Make up Christmas songs. They must rhyme, but nonsense words are strongly encouraged. Feed everyone at all times. Compliment your family often on their accomplishments, big and small. The actual praiseworthiness of the accomplishment is irrelevant. Be everyone's Yiayia, especially people who've lost their own. Always complain when someone gets you a Christmas present, even if, and sometimes especially if, it's one that you really love. Yeah, tell them that it's too much, and then fight with them when they try to take it back. Threaten your granddaughters often with the faxilo, and frequently moan that you should have smothered your son when you had the chance. Never mean any of these things. Whatever the game is, always cheat. Be sure that you're caught cheating, so you can deny it. Always cry when watching musicals, but especially Fiddler on the Roof and The Sound of Music. Watch these musicals often, and always pretend that you have something in your eye. And last but certainly not least, love your family. Love them even when you're force-feeding them, or when they don't call or visit enough, or when they're teasing you. Love them when you're exhausted or sick or just sick of them. Love them because they do exactly what you want, and love them because they don't. Love them with shared recipes that are impossible to decipher and never turn out as well as when you make them. Love them through health crises, failures, job changes, travels, crazy hairstyles, breakups, weddings, funerals, long-distance calls, new dogs, new houses, shows and sporting events, win or lose, big or small, good things and sad things. Love your family. Show them your unique and unrepeatable self so that they can learn from you and take you inside their hearts and become an amalgamation of the very best parts of you. Love your family. Love them imperfectly because that's who you are. Love them unwaveringly and especially without expecting anything in return. Love them with food, love them with money, love them with praise, love them with your presence at every event. Love them by telling them not to spend money on you. Love them by telling them to be different than how they are. Love them by telling them how much others love them. Love them by telling them exactly how much you love them. Love your family. And always, always, when one of your family says, I love you, you respond with, I love you more. Because you do, and you always will. So I'd like to leave you with an invitation, not homework, an invitation. I invite you now to think about my list of how to be like Yiayia and pick away any way that you can be like her. And when you do that, you'll be part of our family. You'll forever be a part of the family that was shaped and crafted by her uniquely loving self for the past 89 years. And when you do that, you'll give Alexis and me the greatest gift of all, which is the gift of knowing that in the minds, the hearts, and most especially the actions of every single person here tonight, our Yiayia is still very much alive, still loving us more than we could ever hope to love her. But there's a bonus. If you do this, if you pick a way to be like Yiayia and you add it into your life, you will also have given her the greatest gift of all, which is magnifying her love for her family to such an extent that no matter how you measure it, she will always love us more.
Thanks for coming, guys.